Hey, Amy Posner here, and I want to talk to you today about a subject that really riles me up, and it's the difference between being a freelancer and being a business owner. Okay, so what is the difference between a freelancer and a business owner? And a lot of it comes down to positioning and perception, yours and your potential clients. But here's the thing, freelancers are not taken seriously. Generally speaking, freelancers have a reputation for being flaky and unreliable. There's also a perception that you're freelancing until you figure out what you're really going to do or until something better comes along. I wasn't always aware of this because for years I didn't move in this particular space. And when I first started my full-time copywriting business, I'd already been in business for a couple of decades, and I solidly saw myself as a business owner. But I was at a cocktail party for a friend of mine who was a CEO of a bank. And so I guess there were some kind of snooty business people there. But one guy wandered over to me and started chatting, and he said, "So what do you do?" And I told him, I was a copywriter and a strategist. And he said, "Oh, so are you a freelancer?" I hadn't thought about it, and I was like, "I guess." And he immediately walked away. He was just kind of one of those, "Oh, there's somebody I must talk to across the room." I realized that I was immediately disrespected and disregarded because I called myself a freelancer, not having given it a whole lot of thought. And as you might imagine, I have given it a whole lot of thought since. So here's the thing. When you're getting hired as a freelancer, it usually starts, might start with some email back and forth, and then it morphs into meeting with them, whether you meet with them by Zoom, whether you meet by phone. You're having a get-together to see if there's a fit. Find out what the project is, find out if it's something that interests you, for them to find out if you feel like the right person for them. But here's the thing about hiring another business owner or a freelancer to do something, basically hiring an outside contractor. As a business owner, so your potential clients, when they come to you, they have a problem that needs solving, and they are also looking to get something off of their plate. And so what that looks like for them, and I know this is true for me when I hire contractors, if I don't have 100% confidence that this person is going to deliver what they promised and deliver it on time, I don't really feel like I can let this project off my plate, which makes it less valuable to me because it means a piece of my mind, time, brain is still engaged thinking about the thing. Is it getting done? How's it getting done? When's it getting done? All of those things are still ever present in my mind. Now, I am willing to pay more and can make a longer term commitment to somebody who allows me to relax and know that this thing is totally off my plate because they're reliable and they're responsible. And for me, that's usually going to be someone who perceives themselves as a business owner and not a freelancer. And I have to tell you, I have been hugely surprised by what I've discovered hiring contractors myself. People who I knew, or I knew casually, I knew socially online, people who, build themselves in a certain way, turned out to be incredibly flaky. And usually what that looked like is not paying attention to deadlines and not keeping me in the loop. And so here are two things that are really, really important to clients, especially when you're newly working with them. Typically when we start a project, there are things to do. There's you have to get, caught up to speed. And this isn't in every profession, but certainly in copywriting where I work, we have to get up to speed. What have they done before? How has it worked? What research did they have? Is it current? Do I need to do my own research? So there's a little bit of going into your cave and figuring things out. And during that time, the clients just hired you, they've just laid down a chunk of money, and when you're in your cave figuring things out, they're like, geez, what's going on? Can I trust this person? Are they, sitting and watching TV, or are they working on my project? And unless you feel 100% confident, you can't quite let go of the reins. And, maybe you can't anyway until you're a few projects in with someone, but there are certainly ways that you can make people feel more confident and more comfortable with you. So one thing to do is to have a contact process, whether you do it say the beginning of the week on a Monday or the end of the week on a Friday, or perhaps both. Very briefly, and usually by email, you let the client know what's going on. Hey, this is, this, and you don't have to tell them exactly what you've accomplished. No, they don't have time, nor do they have interest in having the laundry list of your tasks. But they do sort of want to know approximately where you are. So it might be something like, hey client, I want you to know that we've completed the survey analysis. We've talked to 5 of your current clients to get their feedback. I have prepared X and I'm starting on Z. And by next week, you should expect to see whatever the thing is. You should expect to see X. Now, when the client hears from you, there's a relaxation that happens for them. It's like, okay, this is well in hand. I don't have to wonder. And the person who reaches out before somebody has to come to you and say, hey, what are you doing? Because by the time they have to reach out to you, they might not be in the best humor about it. And so if you can beat them to that punch, it's going to give them a lot of comfort and a lot of confidence. And this idea between a business owner and a freelancer, it's really, it can be how you title yourself, but really a lot of it is in how you behave and how you show up. And so, people who own businesses are established. They're professional. They have systems and processes. All of these things that reassure the client that chances are they've made a good choice, right? You have all the pieces in place. I can't tell you how many times I have hired a professional who blew off a deadline. Oh yeah, something came up. I'm really sorry, XYZ happened and I couldn't get to it. And I'm like, two things go across my mind. One is, you didn't have time to tell me that, number one. And number two, that's not the deal we made. That's not the commitment you made to me. And they just instantly drop in esteem in my eyes, and I'm already thinking, I'm probably not going to work with this person again, just for that one thing. Because for me, if I'm going to hire somebody, it's that situation I mentioned earlier. I need to know that the thing is off my plate and I can trust them. I'll just give you an example. This morning I was on a call with a prospective client, and we were talking about, the various things that he's looking for. And in addition to getting, his project completed, the actual, work done and the deliverables delivered, he's looking for somebody who can take over the marketing, who can think about the marketing, who can strategize about marketing, and who can get the copy done that they need done. And they have some pretty serious copy needs. And what I said to him, we talked about all the, the regular things you talk about. And one of the things I said to him toward the end is, I want you to know that part of my business model is delivering what I call a VIP customer experience. And what that looks like is you'll always be in the know. I'll report to you regularly about what's happening. You'll never have to wonder. I will communicate on your platform of choice, which I am always happy to do. Not only will you know what's happening at all times, but you'll have a schedule for what's expected of you. In addition to that, you can reach me in a heartbeat. I'm very easy to find. And I'm not worried about clients abusing my time. I mostly get clients who are pretty respectful. They value the work, and they're busy. They're not a pain in the ass. They're busy getting their stuff done, and they just want to know that they can trust me to get my stuff done. And what he said, you can almost see his shoulders relax, and what he said is, that's going to make a huge difference to me. Part of the issue with he and I is that we're in vastly different time zones. The chance of us, overlapping in live communication is going to be pretty rare. In fact, we had to coordinate to schedule this meeting, and it wasn't easy. It was early for me, late for him. And so it's going to be really important to him to have somebody that he can rely on. And I think so when I said earlier, it comes down to positioning and perception. That's part of the perception. The perception is that a freelancer might be flaky. And so if there's a perception that copywriters are freelancers, what I want to do is dispel his notion that I might be a flake. I want him to know that he can rely on me. I've never missed a deadline in my career. If I take on a project for you, you're going to have bad phone access. And I tell them right then, look, I'm not the least expensive copywriter in the world. I'm not the most expensive copywriter in the world either, but I charge pretty decent prices. You get a lot of value for that, but I want you to know, one of the things you get that you're paying for is this kind of a VIP customer experience. For people for whom that's not important, there's probably a bunch of other reasons that we're not a fit. So in wrapping this up and keeping it short and pithy, the thing is to have processes and systems in place so that people know how it works. And what I mean by processes and systems is, maybe you have a communication platform and you have a way of delivering the copy in the case of a copywriter. So you've got a system, client, this is how it's going to work. First, we're going to do this part, then we're going to do this part. Here's where I'm going to have an expectation of you, which is to review things and turn them around. Here's what I do next. And when we work together, you'll have the whole calendar in front of you. So you'll know exactly what's expected and when. That gives them reassurance. That's that positioning and perception that I know what I'm doing. I mean, I happen to, but, that's very reassuring for them because that's the only way that they know it is by seeing what happens from the outside. I'll also tell them that I have a process for research. I have a process for writing each type of copy. And like in the case of the client I mentioned earlier, for example, a lot of his business is lead gen. And he's one of these companies that's like, we expected to have 100 customers and we have 10,000 and, they're blowing up really fast and they need a lot of help. But what I wanted him to know was that I could meet him where he was, I could help sort out everything that he needs and then strategically decide what should get done first based on his goals. I think that was very reassuring for him, because it's much better than someone saying, yeah, sure, I can get this done. Like, tell me what you need. Okay, that's an order taker. That is not a business owner. So think about those things in your business. How do you come across? How are you perceived? And how do you position yourself? And I think you want to be very, very deliberate about that so that you make the right impression on your clients. And I honestly think, the first impression begins with the sales call. And you want to carry it through all the way through the service that you deliver to the way that you wrap up the project, get referrals, and get more work. It all really matters, because what they see about how you do this in the beginning, before you've even done it, can make the difference between them deciding that you're a fit and thinking that maybe they should choose somebody else. It also helps you to command prices commensurate with your experience, because when they're getting that full experience, not just the deliverable, it's of way more value to them. So I hope this was helpful. If you need help with the sales and discovery call, my program No Sweat Sales Calls, for anyone listening to this video, if you use the coupon Cut to the Copy 100, you can save $100 off of No Sweat Sales Calls. And it's a pretty interesting program in that you can complete it in 2 hours, and the work, they're interactive PDFs, so the work you do and the questions you answer actually develop a script for you. So in 2 hours, you can totally improve your process. I just had someone say to me yesterday, I've written out my process. He landed his first multi-figure project. He landed a $17,500 project. And he said he did it by writing out his plan first, following No Sweat Sales Calls, and using the 7-step checklist every time he makes a call. So it worked for him. It can work for you too. Check it out. It's at my site, amyposner.com. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. And if you would like to be notified when these videos drop, click the bell and you will be. Bye.